In a town steeped in secrets and a legacy of blood, one man rules the underworld, the places where others fear to tread. He deals in retribution and sacrifice upon a throne carved from blood and steel until a real life angel stumbles upon his lair. He doesn't want redemption, just her body and her soul. She's such a good girl. Now she's going to be a very good fucking girl for me. I am Angel Cruz. I own the underworld of this town. I will own Easy Love too. She is mine to claim, mine to conquer, mine to corrupt. Praying won't help you, little girl, but I will let you kneel for me. I don't want your salvation. I won't give you any mercy. Soft smiles won't soothe this savage, nor will gentle touches or your eager moans. You see, I've already fallen from heaven, and I can't trust it, even if I find it in your arms. There's no goodness in this place steeped in blood and betrayal. Just because you are too good to be true won't make me love you. You never should have come here, to this dark, twisted place I reside. But it's too late now, because no matter how much you beg, I can't let you go. Content/trigger warning: manhandling, groping, graphic violence, public sex, exhibitionism, V kink, breeding kink, imitation of a female main character, excuse me, by male main character, stalking, OTT, yelling, profanity, hunting of female main character by male main character, voluntarily leaving, pushing sexual boundaries, light, dubcon, trafficking of humans, religious dogma, talk of sexual assault, coercion, forced marriage, edging, rough penetrative sex, rough oral sex, ragdolling, killing, blood, and gore. There is also use of the word fat as pertaining to our lead, our female main character, but it's used in a good way, so no one is triggered. Um, if we can remember where we left off in the first part of this series, we have our chef, because I forgot their names, Jesus, but we have our chef sitting on her husband's lap. And, he mentions, like, where's your cousin? Um, Angel is looking for his girl. And she just says, I had to help her escape. So then this leads us into part 2 of Ezekiel Jane, aka Easy, and Angel Cruz's story. So, like I said, her name is Ezekiel, excuse me, Jane. She's our female main character, and she's very churchy. She grew up in the church. And what happens? She gets hurt in some capacity, and she stumbles into a motorcycle club's bar. And right off the bat, it looks like at first she could possibly be looking for somebody, because there's like it's common in the club where a woman who looks like she does not belong there comes in there looking for somebody, and it's usually one of the guys or members, I should say, who had sex with her and went on about his way. So now she's looking for him. So when that doesn't seem to be the case, because I think her clothes are torn, and she has some scrapes like on her hands, and she's just looking for help. But we have, it's like a what is it, intertwined of club under new rulership, and then still combined with the old club who used to run it, who has old disgusting ways. And some of the old members, stand up and it's like, you know how this goes. Anybody want to claim her or she belongs to the club? And it's just like, wait, what is happening? We just got started. Back the fuck up. And so we have Angel, who is already occupied with two women who are cousins who don't mind sharing, which is disgusting because you're having sex with your cousin. Anyway, he's just watching the scene like, oh, she's beautiful, but she's not really my type because, she's short. He doesn't call her fat, but she's thicker and the opposite of what he likes. He likes them tall, skinny, leggy, almost like a quote unquote was supposed to be the model type because anybody can model. And when he sees what's about to happen, and I believe they started speaking in Spanish, thinking she can't understand, but by the horrific look on her face, she understands exactly what's going on and is almost trying to like leave, but they won't let her. So he moves the two women out of the way and says, claim. And so, with that being said, although he claimed her, that doesn't just stop the situation. That means he now has to have sex with her in front of the whole club, or she belongs to the club and they all get to have sex with her. But this is how the town is ran and this is how it goes. Because I'm just like, how is it anybody stumbles into y'all bar and y'all just automatically rope people into this? It's just like she don't get a say so, she don't get a choice, nothing like that. So we have the women of the club, a couple of the women who like whisk her into the back, help get her cleaned up. She has to get a tattoo of his name either on her stomach or on her thigh. She chooses her thigh, and they get her a robe where she's naked underneath, because it's like, regardless if you like this or not, this is gonna happen. And Easy, she's a virgin. So it's like, first of all, it's fucked up that this is happening, but the fact that this has to happen while you're a virgin, it's just like, oh my god. And I'm not gonna lie, I was uncomfortable, but I kept reading. So I don't know what that says about me. Maybe I'm fucked up. Well, there's no maybe about it. I am fucked up. But I kept reading because I'm just like, I'm about to read about a rape. Because no matter, and I'm just going to be honest, no matter how sexy she tried to make it seem, at the end of the day, it's rape. Because if she wanted to leave out that door, there's no way that she could. So even if she quote unquote chooses and made herself agreeable to the situation, it's still rape. I'm sorry. Uh so continuing on, they have sex. He, like I said, quote unquote makes it enjoyable for her, her body responds. I don't know. And so then after that, they have to officiate the relationship, which means they actually have to get married. So a woman comes in with marriage license, so they had to sign that, and then another tattoo. So where she just got his name tattooed on her thigh, she now has to get she got his like club name because he's like the president. So it's like the angel of death. That's on her thigh. So now she has to get angel on her ring finger, and he gets Ezekiel Jane on his finger. And that makes it official. So now they're married. So I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Like, what am I reading? And so, Easy, she thought it was just like, okay, we had sex in front of these people. You claimed me. I got this tattoo. And she's thinking, like, okay, I did that. She did what she had to do to survive. And then she's going to leave. And he's like, what do you think we go through all this for? You got not only one, but two tattoos. And now we're married. Like, you don't just get to go home. You are not my wife. Um, Or it's like you can go home, but you better come back though. Like you have to come back and show your face and participate as being my wife. So we get a little bit into, oh damn, I think I forgot at the beginning. We got a little backstory on Angel. Angel, um, his parents, like they were running from the cartel, and they had, oh, it was so heartbreaking. They had almost got away scot free. Um, but like when they were filtering out families and like separating them, the guy was like, you know, who's a nurse, who's a doctor, who can work this position, whatever, whatever. And Angel is only 8 years old and he's peeping what's going on. And he tried to warn his dad to not reveal the fact that he's a doctor, but his dad already did. And the guy was like, oh, the cartel's looking for you. And they have like a bounty on your head. And he chops Angel's dad head off and tells his crew, you know, send that to the head of the cartel, of a certain cartel. And you know, he takes Angel's mom and it's like, you know, you're going to be looking after, I want to say it was his wife or his son's mother. And that was his life for a long time. Like his father got killed in front of him, his mother was taken. So now he's the head of this motorcycle club, and he also is like, he has legitimate businesses as well. Like he serves to the whole county, and you know, everybody, he's feared, he's revered, you know what I mean? So he's very important. So back into this story, because it's not a love story. This story is fucking crazy. And I'm starting to notice that I still might read the third part. I'm sorry. That just said something about me. Because I'm like, even going back to part one with the chef and our Asian man, it wasn't a consensual relationship. It's like either you do this or I'm sending your brother to jail. So now it's like either you do this or you're gonna be gang raped and killed and thrown into the river. Which do you choose? And it's like, self-preservation, motherfucker. What you think I'm choosing? So anyway, where was I? So after they get married, he lets her go home, but basically, like, Craig told, what was that nigga's name? Smokey, Lord have mercy. Hey, come back. She doesn't come back, so he has to come to her house. And she works in the library. And you know, he shows up there and it's like, didn't I tell your ass that you had to come back? Cause if them old motherfuckers from the group see her out and feel like trying her because they want to try him, because you know, even though people are in a club together, you got, they jealous, gonna try to take your spot at any moment. And it's a particular guy by the name of Rudy who hates the new way and basically just wants, what is that? Child, don't give me the line, but I feel like whoever listens to this, y'all know who I'm talking about. That one particular motorcycle club who just, they were outlaws, just caused havoc. That's what Rudy want to do. But with Angel being the president and the head of the club, that's not what they do. They're actually about something. They actually do something. They have jobs, you know, like they help the community. Like we not just causing hell for no reason and you know, like raping women and selling children and trafficking. No. So he goes to, yeah, he, what did he do? They had lunch together, he brought her food, um, and they had sex in the library. Then he left and he tells her, you know, when I come to your house tonight, because he had been showing up to her house because you can hear like the, is it the engine? Or like the sound of the motorbike outside her house, but she never like opened the door or anything like that. So he's like, when I come out tonight, you better open the door. So when he comes by, she lifts up the garage so he could park his bike in there. She made him dinner. Um, she took off that man's shoes, like they had sex at her house. And the next morning, he leaves. And she been spending the last 5 days drinking more alcohol than nobody called to check on. That's my song. I've been drinking more alcohol for the past 5 days. Did you check on me? Hey, now did you notice me? Hey, hey. Sorry, I have depression. Um, and so we get a flashback of him basically making her feel unwanted, and that's the way she's felt her whole life. So I think he was just looking at it as get back, like I told your ass to come back, you didn't come back. And so now she feeling like kind of sick without him. So she shows back up to the club. And it's like, oh, you did come back. And so they just do this back and forth thing. Cause at some point, well, not at some point, it was cameras in the library. Like, baby, they saw you being fucked up against that bookshelf. So it's like, why don't you take some time off? And we're gonna revisit this. So now she has time to be a wife. So she goes back to the club and they do this back and forth thing of having sex, not really talking. Because he doesn't want to reveal anything about himself to make her look at him as the monster he seems to think that she thinks he is. And so in them having sex, like they're developing feelings for each other, but I'm like, y'all don't really talk to each other. You don't really get to know anything about each other. But it's just like he's kind of nice to me. He worships my body, so I can dig it. And he had it like set up in his house. Like she has a brand new closet filled, beautiful, everything. And like I said, they do this back and forth until at one point he can tell that she's pregnant before she's willing to admit the fact that she's pregnant. Um, so she goes to, I believe, another cousin of hers who's a doctor who takes who performs the test on her. But before she can find out the results, like once again, you hear his bike pull up and they find out the results. Then this is where she disappears and only a few people know where she is. So we're going to go back a little bit to where he gets a phone call like, your shipment is here and is waiting on you. And he's confused because he's like, I ain't got no shipment coming in. Like, who told you that? And whoever on the line is like the head of the car. Oh, that's what it. Okay, real quick, I skipped it. How the fuck could I skip over this? So she was at home, not at home. She was at her grandparents' house, and Rudy and a few of the other members come and like, she belongs to the club. Send her out. And her grandparents used to be moonshiners and bootleggers. So they like, she ain't going nowhere. So when he said she belongs to the club, her grandpa like, girl, what the fuck you done did? And that's when they find out that she's married to Angel, which is crazy because they spent their whole life basically trying to keep her away from what they used to do and from that type of life. So they really kept her sheltered like her whole life. Because of course, people love to raise hell their whole life. Then later on in life, they saved and they go to church and now they want to do right. What was that? They was Ma and Pa Pete. Pete, that's what they were called. Um, so he had got to know the family, whatever. And then he gets a call about the shipment. No, what am I doing? Rudy shows up to the house. He basically kidnaps her away from the house, and then he goes to Angel to challenge him as head of the club because it's like, basically, I got your bitch. I, just cruelly talking like basically, I took your bitch, I fucked her, and now I'm about to take over the club. Of course, Angel kills him because it's like, you were never gonna do that, and where the fuck is my wife at? And he like roughed her up a little bit, but she says that he did not assault her. He didn't do anything to her. He basically just kept her. Um, but at first, Angel didn't believe her because when he got her back, like she was quiet and she wouldn't say nothing, like wouldn't let him check her out, nothing like that. So it was like, no, some more shit happened. What the fuck happened? But she says nothing. So now let's jump ahead to this shipment. And when they get there, it's people. It's kids, more importantly. And Angel realizes that these people who brought these kids over were working with Rudy because Rudy had told them that he was about to take over, and basically he was the head of the club now. And so they were working to separate the children by ages, try to get their names, their birthdays, all that type of stuff. But before they killed the guys who brought the kids over, one of them had said something about the kids being like spotless or something like that, or clean or whatever. And that basically means like there's no information on this child. So there's nowhere to trace them back to. But um fuck, I forgot her name. But the information gets to Easy that, your husband, he's not a good guy. Like she already knew that, but she's like, no, it's worse than what you think. He's selling kids, he's trafficking kids. And so when she hears that information, it's like, we got to get you out of there. You cannot have no contact with him, whatever. So she disappears. And of course, Angel is livid. He's like, man, where the fuck is my wife? What is y'all doing? And the sheriff of the town also knows about this. Like, he works with Angel. He knows some things. Um, they go to this woman and they're like, what the fuck did you do? What did you say? And she's like, I know all about you. And he's like, first of all, you don't know a fucking thing. You got the information all wrong. So while you out here trying to save people and send people away, you don't even know what the fuck you talking about. And so when her and the sheriff, they got some type of dealing, he comes in to talk to her and she punches him in his face. So he arrests her like, girl, you arrested for assaulting a police officer. And she just swears that she's in I did it wrong. So she swears that she's in the right. So she do all that, and after he handcuffs her, that's when they tell her. It's like, girl, you doing all this and you don't even know what the fuck you talking about. So it's been 7 months. Easy has been in Africa this whole time. They got her away. So Angel done kidnapped Ma and Paul Pete. They at his place, at the club. Cause it's like, ain't no way in hell y'all just about to be out here lollygagging while my fucking wife is missing. So of course, he finds his wife and he shows up right as she's about to give birth to the baby. And she passes out because she assumes that with him showing up, that means he's gonna take the baby and kill her. And while she was out, the one thing she was praying for, because she didn't have a chance to name the baby before she passed out, she did not want the baby to be named Judith. Is it Judas or Judah? Because that was her father's name. And lo and behold, that's exactly what Angel named the baby. And so at first she's scared of him until he also has to tell her, you don't know what you're talking about. And she gets a phone call from that same lady who told her the information, who, because he didn't tell her, he just said, basically you don't know what you're talking about. The lady tells her, like, I'm so sorry. She's like, what are you apologizing for? She was like, I was wrong. I got it wrong. They were actually trying to help the kids and they didn't know anything about them being brought over. So that, crushes her whole little spirit, because it's like, damn, I should have believed my man, or I at least should have talked to him about it. And so she tries to apologize, but he tells her, stop. Do not say that to me right now, because I'm telling you, I'm not going to accept it, which I loved, because that was perfect open communication at that point. because it's just like I'm not gonna believe this sorry, and I can't take it right now because you were willing to believe the worst of me. Like, yeah, I kill motherfuckers if they talk to you crazy, which he did once or twice. And it's like, yeah, I deal in illegal activities, but I do have some morals. And kids is where I draw the line. I don't sell kids, I don't touch kids, I don't allow anybody else to either. And the fact that you were just so willing to believe that about me, if you tell me sorry right now, I'm not gonna believe you. And so she's like, I accept that. Cool. So they leave and go back home. And this is when she realizes, well, I'm not going to say this is when she realized, this is when she finally says it out loud, I love you. And, he's like, I love you too. And this is when she tells him, sorry, like, I should have believed you. I should have came to you. And for that, I'll forever be sorry. And so they kiss and make up. And this is their happily ever after. But like I said, it's a forced relationship, forced marriage, that resulted in a baby. And because they have to deal with the circumstances of the life that he leads, they're in love. Peace and blessings, my beautiful people.